Madam Speaker, the large rally at noon today emphasized how meth addiction, brain and mental illness, homelessness, child and family services, and poverty are all closely related. We heard of a pregnant woman who committed suicide because she was scared that CFS would take her baby away. We heard from a 14-year-old who'd already lost 3 friends, aged 12 and 13, to meth. The Premier in the 2016 election campaign said addressing poverty was his highest priority. Will the Premier tell those who are in the gallery today why it is that once elected, poverty has become his lowest priority? So low that in 2 full years and 3 throne speeches, he's not yet presented a plan to address poverty and homelessness in our province.
Good question.
The Honourable First Minister.
First of all, Madam Speaker, I would encourage the member to stand up against the federal government's plans to take $2.2 billion away from Manitoba Health Transfers and Support. The programs he claims he supports are funded by, in part, a partnership with the federal government that is now eroding. As a consequence of the federal government withdrawing significant support from healthcare, I would invite him to not be Ottawa West, but rather to join with us and stand up for Manitobans. As far as the circumstances around those who come from modest circumstances or live in them, Madam Speaker, we have in the past 2 years committed to making the largest tax reductions in the history of Manitoba ever. We will fully reduce taxes on low-income Manitobans by 20% more in our first term than the NDP did in 4 terms. Madam Speaker, I recognize the member may not enjoy that. While the federal government is raising taxes, we are lowering them, but that is the fact, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for River Heights on a supplementary question.
Madam Speaker, at the noon rally, we heard of many parents living under a dark cloud, not knowing if their child who is taking meth will be alive tomorrow morning. In opposition and in government, the Minister of Health has said repeatedly that addictions and brain and mental illness need to be addressed together. Meth use in Manitoba has been called a crisis, an epidemic, a tidal wave, and now an apocalypse. Why is it that the Minister of Health has not yet, in 2 full years and 3 full throne speeches, put forward comprehensive changes, including a meth detoxification centre, to address addictions and brain and mental illness together?
Good question.
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Active Living.
Madam Speaker, when it comes to drug use, there's no question that it has a particular impact on the development of a person's brain, and it certainly has an impact on their life. We know that's even true when it comes to marijuana, Madam Speaker. Those who are 25 and under who use marijuana suffer significantly from a diminishment of brain development, Madam Speaker. There is evidence that says those who are under 25 are particularly impacted by that. It's one of the reasons why we asked the federal Liberal government to provide more time before it went on legalizing this drug, before it went on legalizing marijuana. We asked for additional time so we could look at that impact and try to mitigate it. That member didn't say anything about that, Madam Speaker.
That's right. Shame.
The Honourable Member for River Heights on a final supplementary.
Madam Speaker, we had many people in front of the legislature today calling out this government for its lack of effective action on the meth crisis, on brain and mental illness, on homelessness and poverty, CFS, and on the trauma that many are being exposed to. Those who live with these issues in Manitoba and those who are doing their best to help people with these issues know that after 2 years and 3 throne speeches of this government, we still lack meaningful and effective action to address these critical issues. Many are looking for help and not able to find it. Why has this government in 2 years been irresponsible in neglecting those who are in difficulty and who are our most vulnerable?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Active Living.
Madam Speaker, again, while there's been additional resources placed in treatment and there's been additional resources placed in frontline services for those who need that help, Madam Speaker, there are other things than simply the member going in front of a crowd. He had an opportunity, maybe not in front of a crowd, but to stand with us, and we asked the federal Liberal government to hold on legalizing marijuana, Madam Speaker. We knew there'd be a significant impact. We knew there'd be a significant impact for those young people who might otherwise think that this is behavior that didn't have any harm. We knew that there needed to be more information, there needed to be more time. When we asked that member to join with us, as we did all members of this House, to join with us in protecting children, yeah, there wasn't a crowd there, and he said nothing, Madam Speaker.